Yesterday we stopped at the entrance of Ariel, the appearance of Ariel before Prospero. Prospero had completed the story about his past to his daughter Miranda. Then he sends her to sleep using his magic spell. Then Ariel appeared. So Ariel greets him, and then Prospero asks him how well did Ariel perform the task given to him, that is creating the tempest. So in answer, Ariel replies, I have done it perfectly well without any change to it, just as Prospero had commanded. That is where we stopped. So today we shall look at verses 227 to 296. Ariel describes how he performed the tempest. How did he perform the tempest is described by Ariel. I boarded the king's ship, now on the beak, now in the waist, the deck, in every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometime I would divide and burn in many places. On the topmast, the yards, and bowsprit would I flame distinctly. Then meet and join Jove's lightnings, the precursors of the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and sight outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble, yeah, his dread trident shake. So let's look at what Ariel is trying to say. I boarded the king's ship. He boarded the ship. Then he performed wonderfully well. In different parts of the ship. He'll be explaining the different parts of the ship. I boarded the king's ship, now on the beak. There is a bow on the topmost. You remember the Titanic, the scene, the hero and heroine standing together? So the bow, now in the waist, that's a middle upper deck. Then in the deck, in every cabin, there are rooms. Cabins are there, cells are there. In every cabin, I flamed amazement. That is, I flamed means I burned in such a way that it created amazement, wonder, fright. Sometime I would divide and burn in many places. I did different tricks. Sometimes I burned here, there, there. Sometimes I divided myself into different things, and all of my divisions will be flaming at the same time in different places. I would divide and burn in many places. What are the places? On the topmast, the yards, and bowsprit would I flame distinctly. Distinctly means separately, individually. Then meet and join. Then I'll come together. So I'll divide and flame in different places. Burn in different places at the same time. Then come together and become one huge flame. Jove's lightnings. So Ariel is specifying or qualifying the way he flamed Jove's lightnings. Jove is Jupiter, the chief god of given there. Job Jupiter is the supreme god of Roman mythology. So, Jupiter is the supreme god, very powerful god, and his weapons were thunderbolt and lightning. Thunderbolt and lightning. See, people always ascribed thunder and lightning to gods. Why? They are beyond our reach, beyond our understanding. It's coming from the heavens. And it's so powerful, human beings, even today, human beings are not able to control them. So, therefore, people ascribe them to gods. And the Roman god, supreme god of the Romans, Jupiter's weapons were these two. So Ariel says, Jove's lightnings, the precursors on the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and sight outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble. So he says, I did better than Jupiter. Jupiter's weapons are thunder and lightning. But I did the burning such a way, it was faster than the lightning. So, it was like the forerunners of lightning. Forerunners of lightning, that is the supreme god Jupiter makes use of lightning, his weapon. And I made it faster than that. So much fast I burned, everybody got scared. Of sulphurous roaring, the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege, seemed to attack and make his bold waves tremble. I burned in such a way, I flamed in such a way, what happened? Neptune, the sea god, and his weapon is trident. So the sea god started to shiver. Where was his shiver felt? The waves were shivering. So the waves were roaring and coming up and going down. So Ariel is trying to ascribe this quality as the shivering of the Neptune. Neptune got scared seeing the way I did things and started to shiver. Seemed to besiege his attack and make his bold waves tremble. The sea waves are supposed to be very bold. So even those waves were trembling, seeing the flame of mine. Yeah, his dread trident shake. His deadly trident shake. Trident is a weapon of Neptune. What is a trident? Trident is a three-pronged spear. In Trishul, I don't know, you're familiar with the word. Hindi, what do you call it? Trishul. So that is spear is, what do you call a spear? So Trishul means having three prongs. So three-pronged, that is a spear. So you have the spear and it has got the trishul. Okay. Something like that. So his trident was shaking. Prospero, my brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant, that this coil would not infect this reason. So, Prospero is appreciating Ariel saying, my brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant, that this coil is turmoil, that is disturbance, would not infect his reason. That is, will not make him crazy. So he did all these things without getting disturbed. Done very well. Very good. Excellent work. Congratulations. Ariel, not a soul but felt a fever of the mad, and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged in the foaming brine and quit the vessel. So now he continues what happened to the people. Not a soul but felt a fever of the mad. Everybody was affected. Everybody was affected. There was not a soul which was not affected. Felt a fever of the mad. That is, all of them became crazy. When you are in such a situation, you are about to die, there is no hope, and you become mad, you don't know what you are doing. So everybody was in that kind of status and played some tricks of desperation. That is in the last moment, when there is no escape, you try to play some tricks. That is tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged in the foaming brine. Foaming brine is seawater. Brine is seawater. Foaming means because of the waves, high rising waves. The waves are coming up so much and then going down and hitting the water, and foam is formed. That is foaming. Water is foaming. So plunged in the foaming brine. All but mariners. Only the mariners did not jump into the seawater. All the others jumped. And quit the vessel. They left the vessel. All of them jumped and left the vessel except the mariners. Then all afire with me. Then all afire with me means all on fire. All were burning with me. All of them were burning with me. The king's son, Ferdinand, with hair upstaring, then like reeds, not hair, was the first man that leaped, cried, hell is empty and all the devils are here. Then he is explaining about Ferdinand. He was the first one to jump. So what is given in between the hyphen is explaining the physical condition of Ferdinand. The king's son Ferdinand was the first man that leaped. He was the first one who jumped. What was his status? With hair upstaring. Upstaring means standing on end. His hair was standing on end, standing like that. He has some new style. Some of the boys try to make the hair to stand upright like this. They bring the entire hair and make it to stand. It's a style now. But when people get frightened, they say the hair in your body and including the hair on your head, it will stand erect. So Ferdinand's hair upstaring, that is standing on end. Then like reeds. Reeds is a kind of it's a bush. It's a bushy thing. Reeds can be easily bent. So his hair was, when it stood like that, standing on end, it did not look like hair at all. It looked like reeds. So he was the first one to jump, and when he jumped, he cried, hell is empty and all the devils are here. Prospero. Why? That's my spirit, but was not this nigh shore? Did it not take place near the shore? Ariel. Close by my master. Yes, very close to the shore. Prospero. But are they, Ariel, safe? You remember earlier Prospero had told Miranda that nothing will happen to any of the passengers, not even their hair on the head will be affected. I have given commands or made arrangements that nothing will happen to them. So now he's asking Prospero, but are they Ariel safe? Ariel, not a hair perished. Not even a hair is destroyed. On their sustaining garments, not a blemish. Sustaining is supporting. So the supporting means the dress that they were wearing, not a blemish. Not a blemish means not a stain. No stain at all. But fresher than before. Actually they look fresher than before after the tempest. Actually a person met with real tempest, his clothes would have been destroyed, perished, or it died in very bad condition. But here their clothes were without any blemish, without any stain, and it looked better than before. And as thou badst me, as thou badest me, bade means commanded, as thou commanded me, in troop have dispersed them. You know what is disperse? You have dispersal, no? In the evening when the bell rings, you disperse. So, leave. Or leave the place and go away. So dispersed, in troops have I dispersed them. So I have troops means groups. In different groups I have sent them away to different places. Dispersed, sent away. About the Isle means different parts of the isle. Different parts of the island. I have sent them to different parts of the island in small groups. The king's son have I landed by himself, whom I left to cooling of the air with sighs, in an odd angle of the isle, and sitting his arms in his sad knot. So only Ferdinand, the king's son, I have kept him separately, kept him alone. Others I have made them into groups and sent them. And where is Ferdinand? Ferdinand is sitting in a corner, odd angle. In an odd angle of the isle means lonely corner of the island is sitting there. He is cooling, he is sighing and cooling himself in the air. And his arms in this sad knot. So Ariel shows. See, when you get completely discouraged, lose hope, you sit like this. Put down your head in the hand and sit like that. So Ferdinand is sitting like that, completely discouraged and lost hope. Prospero. Of the king's ship, the mariners say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet. So Prospero is asking a question. Of the king's ship, the mariners say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet. The ship. Mariners, the rest of the fleet. What have you done with them? So that's what Prospero is asking. He's asking about three things or three people. Two are one is ship, that is the ship is vessel. Mariners, what have you done with the mariners? What did you do with the rest of the fleet? So Ariel answers, Is the king's ship. Safely in harbor is the king's ship. Okay. First thing we asked, what did you do with the ship? Safely in the harbor in the king's is the king's ship. King's ship is very safe in the harbor. Where is it? In the deep nook. Nook is corner. Nook and corner. I looked for him in every nook and corner. So that's an expression. So, in the deep nook where once thou callest me up at midnight to fetch dew from the still-vexed Bermudes, there she is hid. So now the ship is safe in the harbor. Where is it shipped? Where is it harbored? Or where is it anchored? It is kept in the Bermudes. Bermudes is given there. Bermudas. Bermudas, the island. Bermuda Island. Famous islands of Bermuda. It's a British, under the British. It's around 19 kilometers radius sea, which is always troublesome. The waters are always in trouble, and they have lost so many ships, just disappeared. So many ships have disappeared. We don't know where they are. People are still searching for them. If you go to net and just search for Bermuda Islands, there's plenty of articles are there, very interesting ones. So I have hid them in Bermudes. There she is hidden. Nobody can see it. So there he gives a hint. Do you remember once thou calledst me up at midnight? Mid of the night, he called me once, woke me up, and asked me to fetch dew from the still-vexed Bermude. Still-vexed means ever agitated by storm. So once he woke me up at midnight and asked me to go to Bermuda Islands and get some dew from there. Dew is used for black magic and for witchcraft. So since Prospero is doing the magic, and at midnight Ariel went and got it for him. You remember that, no? In that place I have hid the ship. The mariners, second one, mariners all under hatches, stowed. Stowed means placed or stored, packed or placed or stored. The mariners all under hatches. Under hatches means below the deck of the ship. So mariners are all kept, they are all packed and kept, they are all stored in the below the deck of the ship. Who with a charm joined to their suffered labor I have left asleep. So I have made them to sleep. Charm means here it is a magic spell. So they were already tired. The mariners were trying to save the ship. So they were working hard and they were tired. Adding to that, I added some magic spell and put them to sleep. They are all sleeping. Till I wake them up, they will be asleep. And for the rest of the fleet, the third one, the rest of the fleet. What is rest of the fleet? When the king goes, king will not go in just in one ship. He goes in one ship and all the royal passengers will be in that ship. But there will be so many other ships accompanying him for his protection and for his accompaniment. So there is a fleet. It's like when our respected chief minister or a prime minister comes, there will be an escort. So many will be there. Like that, there was a fleet. What have you done with them? I have, and for the rest of the fleet which I dispersed, they all have met again and are upon the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home for Naples. I had dispersed them all, scattered them all. Afterwards, after the shipwreck, the scattered ship, they all came together and they are all on the Mediterranean float, that is Mediterranean Sea, and they are heading towards Naples, thinking that king's ship has been wrecked and all the people in it have lost their lives. Supposing that they saw the king's ship wrecked and his great person perish. His great person means His Eminence, King Alonso. So the king and his royal members, they all have died. That's what they think, and they are heading towards Naples. Prospero, Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed, but there is more work. What is the time of the day? Now Prospero says, well done, servant. Excellent job. Ariel, thy charge. Charge means task or work. Thy charge exactly is performed, but there is more work. There is more work left for you. What's the time of the day? What's the time now? Ariel, past the mid-season. That is noon. It's afternoon. Prospero, at least 2 glasses. The time 'tis 6, and now must by us both be spent most preciously. Twist. This is an important word. Important word which comes across many times. In the drama you will find this word used many times. Twist is between. Between. You should know it. Twist. Twist is between. At least 2 glasses. See, those days there was no watch, no clock. They were using the hourglass. Science students will know hourglass. What is an hourglass? Ancient times, how they found time. Filling a glass with sand, and the sand will be slowly let loose. Sand will be falling down, and the time taken is considered as 1 hour, things like that. So according to the how much sand is left in the glass, they can calculate the time. So at least 2 glasses. The time 'tis 6 and now. That means between now and 6. Suppose it is 2 o'clock now, then 2 and 6 must by us both be spent most preciously. Very important time. Should be spent preciously means profitably. Careful. It has to be spent very profitably. Ariel, is there more toil? Ariel is little discouraged because the work which has been done to him, work which has been entrusted to him, did so well. Worked hard. He flamed the ship. So he performed the tempest excellently. So now you are thinking that his works are over. So when Prospero said he has still more works left, we must be using the time in a useful way. He asked, is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me. So, in a discouraging tone, Ariel is saying, since thou dost give me pains, you keep on giving me hard tasks, impossible tasks you are giving me. Let me remember thee. Remember means remind. Most of the time Shakespeare uses the word remember, meaning remind. Let me remind thee what thou hast promised. You had made me a promise. I think you seem to have forgotten. I should remind you, which is not yet performed me. You made a promise to me, but you did not fulfill it. I think I should remind you about it. Prospero, how now, moody? What it is thou canst demand? What is it thou canst demand? So, Prospero is saying, what you are how now Moody. Are you moody? That is sulky. Are you in a bad mood? Moody is a bad mood. Are you in a bad mood? Are you sulky? Not in a mood to work? Not in a mood to obey? What is happening to you? What is the problem? What do you want? Ariel, my liberty. I wanted to remind you about my liberty. Prospero, before the time be out, no more. Before the time be out means before your sentence has been completed. So, there's a contract made between Prospero and Ariel. He's supposed to be working for this particular time. That is not over. So, till your sentence is over, you have no right to ask. Please don't ask. Before the time be out, no more. Ariel, I prithee, I pray you, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made thee no mistakes, served without or grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to bait me a full year. Now he is reminding Prospero about the great work he has done and the condition Prospero had put forward to Ariel. I pray thee, remember I have done thee worthy service. I have served you so well. Excellent work I have done. Told thee no lies. I haven't told any lies to you. I was always very trustworthy. I spoke only the truth. Made thee no mistakes. Not even a single mistake I have committed. Served without or grudge. I served you without grudge. Grudge is reluctance, unwillingness to do something. That means I did everything willingly. Nothing I did unwillingly. Or grumblings. When you don't like something or you are doing something against your thing, you keep murmuring. So murmuring. I have done everything without any murmuring or without any reluctance. Thou didst promise to bait me a full year. Bait means reduce. He had told me that if I do everything like this, without making any mistake, without grudging, without grumbling, if I do work and do it well, he had told me that he will give me 1 year rest. But he haven't given me. Prospero, dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee? Now Prospero is reminding Ariel about his past. Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee? You were in torment once upon a time and I have freed you. Do you remember that? Ariel, no. So the Ariel's torment and how he was liberated from it, we shall see tomorrow. Thank you.